Hey everybody, welcome to week 2 of our November coaching. Super pumped about this. So I am going to open with a word of prayer, but while you guys are hopping on, I would love to hear something you're grateful for, and I want you to pop it in the chat as maybe like a way to, I don't know, take attendance. So, okay, bow with me if you are able to, and we'll pray real quick. All right. Dear Heavenly Father, Lord, we just thank you for the opportunity that we have to gather and to learn more about how to be excellent and in this opportunity that you've gifted us with. I thank you for the stewardship of Plexus. I thank you for the opportunity in this particular time that we have to just give you glory through this opportunity. We just pray that you would give us favor. We pray that you would bless the work of our hands. I know so many of us have, families that we're raising and a lot of irons in the fire and ministries that we're a part of and just different things. We just pray that you would magnify the hours in our day, that we would use our time wisely, and that we would rise up in excellence. I just pray that you would show us the areas where we need to grow in. I thank you for the collaborative effort of this coaching and also the group piece where, there's a couple people maybe in the vulnerability hot seat, but how everybody on this call can see a piece of themselves and whoever's being coached. And we just pray that you would just help us to grow massively in our mindsets, help us to grow out of the fears that we're dealing with. We pray for if we're dealing with personal struggles or just maybe even going through a hard time in life or in marriage or with children, we just pray that you would cover those things. We just thank you for the opportunity, and we commit this time to you in Jesus' name. Amen. Okay, well, we're still admitting everybody to the call. So if you're just hopping on, make sure that you pop a gratitude in the comments, because this month I feel like in particular, we really hone in on what we're grateful for. But I know Brenda has said on previous calls that her antidote to issues in business or issues in our life is gratitude. And when we shift our focus from the issues and the problems to what is going well, it really causes us to think on a different plane, for sure. So I hope that you guys blow up the chat. There should be an equal amount of comments in the chat as people on this call. So, alrighty. We are super pumped. Oh my word, Christina Robinson's on this call. She just had a baby last night. Congratulations, Christina. I'm cracking up that's awesome. Yay. Okay, she just had a baby girl last night, so we're super, super excited for her, and congratulations there, sister. Alrighty. Okay, before we dive into coaching, I have a couple of things that have been on my brain. So I think a lot of you saw my little post about systems, and this is something that Brenda had talked about last week, and something that's on my brain because I have built my business through a really, really busy season in my life. I've had a couple of babies since starting Plexus. I'm homeschooling more children. There's just a lot of things. And so my Plexus business really has looked messy. Like, I'm a pretty organized person. I like to operate with all my ducks in a row, and I like my house clean and all of that. But I have felt like, for a perfectionistic person like me, that if I'm not quick to act, even in spite of maybe like imperfect surroundings or imperfect the way I do things. I've had some people on my team that make these beautiful binders, and they have like tabs, and they're like amazing. And I'm over here with like scraps of paper and like my notebooks, and it's kind of a hot mess, but I've made it work, right? So systems is something that I've really learned from Brooke Hemingway, and I was a stalled out emerald, about 1,700 points a couple of years ago. And I feel like the reason we were able to go Sapphire Diamond was because of Brooke's simple systems. Okay, and a system, in my opinion, is just a way of doing things. Like you already have a system, but you may not even be aware of it, right? And so approaching your business in a more systematic way is going to definitely give you more peace. It's going to free up your brain space, and you'll be able to just approach your business in a way that's more like a CEO instead of like a hobbyist that sometimes blitzes in, blitzes out, and then you just feel like a hot mess and squirrely brained all the time. And so what the system that I started implementing as an Emerald was I actually started doing like a once a month event. It doesn't probably sound like that much, but we started doing the 7-day challenges. Now, those have, I don't know, more or less kind of phased out. I feel like we're now into like the glitzy 15-minute messenger event, or maybe the 30-minute, basics about Plexus group event, or like a Zoom or something that's pretty quick, right? But for that season, that system is what worked, and like the team caught on, like they knew every once a month we were going to be massively inviting a lot of people to this event. So anyways, that was huge. Just implementing that little system was ginormous. Now, a couple years ago, I just felt like I needed to be more systematic in my business. So I don't know if you guys have seen this, but Brooke has a breakdown, and I can pop it onto our group if it would be helpful, but she has broken down the month into thirds. Okay, how many of you are guilty of working like a crazy person at the end of the month, and then you're like, woo, you take like 2 weeks off, and then you're like, oh no, it's the end of the month again, I gotta create some conversations, I need to make some posts. And so then you get in like this crazy pedal to the metal cycle at the end of the month, and it's like this cycle of approaching your business in a really willy-nilly way instead of a systematized, like, this is what I do the first 10 days of the month, these are the things I work on the middle 10 days of the month, and these are the things I work on at the last 10 days of the month. So that in and of itself is just maybe a different way to think of how you approach your business throughout the month, right? Because we go on monthly cycles. Also, I realized that I needed to get more systematic, and even when I sign up a new ambassador, what are my steps? Like, what do I do? And I realized it was silly of me. It was actually wasting time for me to, like, for every new person I signed, to be like, okay, here's the starter instructions and da 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 da. And so I ended up just copy and pasting and saving it into notes in my phone. Actually, a little welcome message that Jessica Heffley uses. It's brilliant. It's amazing. And that's what I do every single time now. Like, I send that out. It has their ambassador ID. It has their link. It has the little, hey, here's our little Plexus group. Make sure you request to join it. And it has just like a blitzy, it's not super long, okay? And then I talked about like the little sprinkle campaign. So then like the couple times within their first week, especially before they get their products, I try to have a couple blitzy little messages sent out to them. Anyways, not to belabor the point, but those systems can totally save your brain space, save you time, and help you approach your business in a peaceful and confident way. And you're not going to sit down and be like, oh, I don't even know what to do. Where do I start, right? When you're systematic, you just follow the system. It's like, okay, I signed a new level 1. Oh, or like some of you have said, well, I need a system for developing silvers, which is what I talked about last week. But every time you do it and you do it the same way, you're going to get even better and more efficient and all of that. So I don't know if that helps, but those are, I don't know, just kind of my brain space of how I've shifted over the past couple of years to help my approach to my business be sustainable. Because remember, you can only run on like adrenaline and willy-nilly for so long before you feel burnout. Okay, and you want to be in this for the long game so that you are peaceful and you are covering your bases with your follow-up system and your the different things that you do. So yeah, I'd be happy to post Brooke's system, yep, in that group. Okay, so if you popped on late, we are taking attendance by sharing gratitudes in the comments. So definitely, I can pop the welcome message from Jessica in our group as well, so you guys have that. Okay, awesome. Okay, we are going to have a coach.
Megan, do you want me to say my little thing real quick?
Yes, that would be great.
I didn't know when in the call this would fit, but if you guys have any clarifying questions about your 11 daily ops for your 21 hard challenge, put them in the chat right now. And if you don't, great. I mean, hopefully everyone went and watched the intro video where I explained each task in a little more detail. If you haven't, go watch that before you submit a question. But I know there was one particular question that I saw on repeat, and so I'm going to address that here. And then if I see any others in the chat that are not addressed in the intro video, I will address those here too. But the big one that I started seeing a lot of is that people were like, I don't have enough conversations to follow up on. Those 5 circle backs that we're doing every day. Let me explain why we put 5 of those on your daily tasks. It's because we understand that there's a nice delicate balance between circling back to build trust and build relationship, and circling back to resurrect the topic of Plexus, or to say, hey, what'd you think of those product recommendations? Or, hey, is this your week to get your order in? Or so there's kind of a dance where sometimes you just get the feeling that like maybe they need a little rest from Plexus check-ins, and you need to spend a little time making sure that the trust is there and that the relationship is strong. Maybe that's what's holding them back. So we put those 5 circle backs in there to allow room for just following up with your potentials, just to keep the relationship strong. So in case that needed stating, let me state it. Now, I would also say prioritize your Plexus conversations, prioritize your dream team potentials. Obviously, make sure those, I know they're intimidating, but put them at the top of the list, not the bottom of the list. Okay, let me scan the comments real quick for any other. The 5 circle backs is my question too, and 2 product users. I've checked in on all my product users. Okay. Well, Megan's little sprinkle campaign has her checking in on a product user pretty regularly, right, Megan? So checking in, I would say for a brand new product user, I'm checking in every, 4 to 5 days early on to say, how's it going incorporating the products into your daily routine? Are you having any trouble remembering to take them? What are you noticing so far? Let me take this moment too to drop, y'all know I'm like the soundbite queen. I love the word benefits instead of results. So I want to just drop that for everyone to start using, because some of our products do not produce earth-shattering visible results, but they offer benefits. And so I like to use that phrase and say, and I like to really encourage people, let's say they're 1 week in on their products. I ask them, how is it going remembering to incorporate it into your daily routine? What do you think of the taste? I'm asking questions that align with, hey, you've only been on your products 3 or 4 days. We're not expecting, your entire life to be altered by this point, but I'm asking questions that they can answer. And then as they respond to those questions, I say, oh, this is so good. I'm so glad to hear you've taken them every day this week. With continued consistency, you're really going to start reaping those benefits, those long-term benefits. So just wanted to pass that along, but that has been really helpful for me. Did anyone see a question?
Someone asked if for IG, if they follow someone, does that count, or do they need to be followed back?
Oh, y'all are so funny. We're not legalistic about it. I mean, I would say that if you can follow someone new that's really, high caliber person, and you can begin commenting and interacting with them, and maybe even can get to a point where you're commenting on their stories and maybe get a little heart back or a little comment back, I would call that adding someone to your network. You've kind of gotten to a point where even if they haven't followed you back. But if you just really need that, if you need that to check that box that night and you follow someone, okay, we'll count that. 5 circle backs is the big question.
Can you address the whole posting thing? Did we talk about that yet?
That's another thing we talked about too. A couple people in this group have been taking courses from social media experts and just commented on the fact that, back when the 4 of us joined, it was not taboo at all to post 5 times a day on social media. And in fact, that helped us grow to Emerald, Sapphire, and Diamond. And things are a little different now. And these platforms are really cracking down on the over posters. So we do not want anyone posting quantity over quality. Make sure it's quality for sure. And what we've put out there for you is on the high side. of posting. It's 6 Instagram posts a week. It's posts daily in your stories, and it's 2 Facebook posts per day, except on your Sabbath. Our reason for that was, one, because we want to, this 21 Hard is more, it's about more than just the results that are going to come from it. It's actually about the process. Like, we're actually trying to force some systemization. Sometimes a big, hard challenge like this forces us to focus. It forces us to prioritize, forces us to systematize. So some of this is just about the refining fire of making ourselves do it every day. The other thought process we had is, if you're alternating personal and Plexus and you're only posting on Facebook once a day, then you're only posting about Plexus maybe 3 times a week. So again, in this 21 Hard 3-week season, we want to really blitz high activity. I have not had, in the current state of things in our platforms, I've not had a 2 Facebook post day tank me in the algorithms. Sometimes one will get more engagement than the other, but I've never had a 2 post day just tank me in the algorithms. I wouldn't go up to 3 though. So again, and again, we are not legalistic about this. If you truly feel like it is hurting your engagement, okay, maybe don't do it. But I would say for 3 weeks, let it be an experiment. If you get to the end of the 3 weeks and you're like, holy cow, that majorly tanked my engagement, I don't want to keep doing that, the social media experts say not to do that. Okay, well then you learned, right? You learned after 3 weeks that maybe that's not the best for your engagement. But we talked about it a couple of times after the fact, and we said we feel like 2 Facebook posts on your 6 work days, 1 Instagram post on your 6 work days. We don't think it's going to tank anybody in the algorithms. Anything else to add from the other diamonds?
I think you hit the nail on the head. I think that when it comes to posting, like, if you're only posting about Plexus every other day or every 2 days, it's not enough, because like 10% of people see your posts, right? Or whatever. I mean, it's a small amount. So if you're not posting a whole lot, then a lot of people won't see it. But stories are another way where you can definitely, sprinkle Plexus in very consistently, so that in every couple of frames there's something about Plexus. And also, don't be afraid to go live. That's the other thing I would say. Live in your stories, it's great practice. And 2, do some sort of live video, reel, something on Facebook and Instagram, because that definitely boosts your exposure, and it helps people just see you as a real person, not just like a poster.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
There was one other follow-up thing that I had on the tip of my tongue and I kind of lost it, but I think it was just that tip about, if you go to your messenger and you type Plexus into the search, it'll actually pull up a lot of messages you might have forgotten were left hanging. Sometimes when you leave off with somebody and they don't respond, sometimes they fall to the bottom of your feed. So that tip is helpful for me too. And I hope that we've provided enough wording examples in the group at this point that you can kind of see how we do it confidently. I mean, I cracked up at myself last night because I went back to a girl I'm still trying to get signed up. And the last we said, she was excited. She asked me for recommendations. I gave her a few recommendations. I hadn't heard back. So I literally came back. I said, what'd you think of those ideas? I just I don't know. I'm just trying to keep it going. So. All right, well, that's all I've got then, unless y'all see any other questions, clarifying questions that I need to address.
Yes, okay, fabulous. Well, keep asking if you guys have specific things that you want, us to chat about in the comments, in the chat. I think that we'll have Brenda go first, because she was going to coach, let's see, sorry, I forgot.
Melody.
Melody, yes. Is Melody on? Let's see.
Yes, she's here.
Okay.
I'm here.
Yay.
Awesome. Okay. Well, before I jump into that, I just have a real quick word that I just felt like I should share after listening to some of you guys. Just to those of you who may feel weary, we're at that point in the 21 days where I know some of you can start feeling like, can I do this? Can I really get through? Maybe you're starting to find excuses that are a little bit easier. And I just want to say that I think some of that can be, especially if you feel like this was brought to you by the Lord and it's something you should be doing for your family, and it's something that is like a ministry to you, you know you're doing what you need to do. You're going to have those times, and I think it's often an attack from the enemy. And so just look at it that way. Don't look at it as something personal. Just look at it as something from the outside, and don't be too hard on yourself or start running yourself down mentally or anything like that. And think of it as a reason to be all the more bold. You know, put on the armor, be bold, put out those more bold business posts or whatever to kind of be like attack back, if you want to think of it in that way. So I just wanted to give you that encouragement. I noticed that Justin cheered Linda on for the post that she's been doing. He said he's not surprised she got someone interested in the business because her posts have been on fire. That's exactly what I'm talking about. We coached her not too long ago where I was kind of in a little bit of a low spot. And I feel like she's taken it to heart and is doing the things she was recommended to do, and she's seeing the fruit. So be bold. That's just all I want to say. Make boldness your word for the rest of our 21. Okay, on that note, Melody, I want to hear about you.
Hi.
About how long you've been with Plexus and where you are now.
Okay, can anybody hear me and see me?
Yes.
Okay, I'm having problems on my end. I can't see any pictures or anything, but I see the cameras on and I see, I can still unmute the button and stuff like that. It's kind of delayed for some reason for me, so I apologize about that. But hey everybody, I'm Melody. I have actually joined the Plexus team under Kara Elliott since June. So I'm still new, I feel like, compared to a lot of other people. And so my journey kind of started out with lots of reaching out to ask questions because I was having a hysterectomy, and I had, the bloating, the swelling, the inability to exercise, things like that. And so it started out with weight loss, but also then with just getting my body back to normal. And so is there anything particular you want to know, Brenda, about me? Just so personal or?
Yeah, are you single? Do you have family?
So I'm married. My husband and I, Eric, we don't have any kids because of my hysterectomy. We are just not kid people. And we have 4 animals, and we live in the same city as Kara, and that's Decatur, Alabama. And I work for the military base here, and I work from home. Obviously, I've worked from home since March of 2020. So it's been really great being at home. And I think that's really about it.
Yeah, no, I love a perspective a little bit of what someone's life looks like. So my other question was your rank. Did you mention that? Where you are?
I did not. So I'm still holding it as silver right now. I started in June. I started pursuing actually selling it probably mid-June, late June, and really kind of got like there was 4 days I think where Kara and I were like, oh my goodness, this is taking off. And it was like 4 people signed up underneath me in 4 days straight. And it was really cool. It was really exciting. And then actually I haven't signed up anybody since then. I haven't had any interest. And I have, I think 2 or 3 customers now that have just purchased the 3-day weight loss challenge box. But I am not afraid of being that hey girl messenger, which I'm learning to not be the hey girl messenger. But Kara can attest to this. I am not afraid. I literally can send 20 messages in a day, no problem. That I don't have a problem messaging people, talking to people from my past, or, starting a conversation. Or if I see something on Facebook that's like somebody asking for, like, I'm feeling so tired today, I'll jump over to Messenger and immediately follow up with them. Like, even if I haven't started a Plexus conversation with them, like, that is not an issue for me, talking to people. I just have not had very much response because I have been the hey girl. Obviously I'm learning, getting more into learning the business side of it from Kara and some of these calls. And I think Kara and I are learning the no shame sales games tactics. Obviously I've been watching some of that only in the last couple of weeks. So that's been helping me, like, eye opener, like, oh gosh, I've been that hey girl, yeah. And so Kara's been like, it's okay. You can start right now and you can, change the way you are moving forward. So I definitely have a lot to learn, and I'm very willing. Like I have the pictures on my wall that says I'll be in Hawaii. Like, you know, one of the coaching calls was like, speak it into existence. You know, like I am posting, I am doing reels, I'm doing Instagram. You know, I'm learning a lot from Kara and watching you guys, and so definitely not afraid of the business, or I definitely have the desire and the want to do it. I just maybe haven't gotten the path straight yet.
Okay. Yeah, no, it sounds like you're doing so many of the right things. You have the work ethic, the desire, and great upline and help. So my question for you is, what is your why with Plexus? Why do you want to work this business and earn an income with Plexus?
Right. Because of mentioning my medical history, I have an autoimmune disease called alopecia areata. And that I'm 32 years old, and I just got diagnosed 2 years ago, almost 3 in January. And so that on my own with an autoimmune disease, I started researching, learning about it. I wanted more natural things. And so on my own, I was already becoming this like crazy, you know, research person. I would go to the health food stores and like grab all the bottles and read about them and purchase this and try that. And so then I also had chronic constipation where my doctor was just like, well, you're going to be one of those people that's on Miralax the rest of their life. And those two things together with the hysterectomy is what kind of led me to Kara, because my sister had started some products, I don't know, it was probably a year ago, and she didn't stay consistent, so it's kind of sat in her cabinet, and she kind of gave them to me because I'm always on a journey of wanting to lose weight, of course, because I'm a female. But once those three things kind of came to a T, with the hysterectomy, especially with the inflammation and just like bloating, and I was tired of my gluten sensitivity and just feeling gross. Once I got the results from Plexus about how I felt better and learned how it could really, and started digging into the business, and because I love research, I started sending out like those research type messages to kind of inform people like I was informed. So honestly, it was my personal results about how it made me feel. And then when I got hooked on that, I wanted everybody else to feel the way that I did. I know there's people out there who feel this way. And so I mean, like I said, I kind of just like word vomited on everybody. Like, you have to try this, and this is, I just started, and it's going to make you feel better, I promise. Like, just give me a try. You know, all these kind of desperate, I'm sure at moments, or salesy more than wanting to help people. But here recently, something has shifted in my personal life with my husband. He lost his job. And so I have a little bit of that drive inside of me to want to make the business work in that way as well, financially. But because of him losing his job, and we're kind of in that season of just me being the main income, it's also made me really depend on God a lot more. And I've strengthened that relationship more than I ever thought I could. Like, I became that praying without ceasing kind of wife, and the submissive, supportive, encouraging wife when I'm more kind of controlling and working on all the things within me and helping encourage him. And so then it became more of this, the negative in the world or in my house. I started tweaking my posts. I think Cassie Howard does a wonderful job at this. I just learned about her post today, and I was kind of like off in a rabbit hole on her page today. But then it became more of, God can bless people like he has blessed me with Plexus. And so now my shifting just in the last, I don't know, a couple of days has been more of a God blessing. So like, I want to be able to bless people the way that it's helped me, but also show God through that as well too, because this company is such a strong faith. So
that's awesome. And that's a very strong reason for wanting to share, and don't ever lose that. Don't ever lose that passion to change others. But when you think of if time and money were no object, what could that look like? How could things be different for your family? We're talking, you know, earning a significant income. Were you on when Justin and Megan challenged you to think about triple what you are hoping to earn, your ideal earning with Plexus would be, and then triple that, and what that could look like for your family? Have you ever sat and dreamt about that?
I have not.
So if time or money would be of no object, what could be different for your family? What would be some dreams you could realize?
Right. So right now, the dream of mine, the immediate dream of mine within Plexus would to be on the Orlando trip, and it would be to get the Disney tickets. So that's, I guess, my short-term focus goal right now. But I've honestly never seen myself as a diamond, even though I've been surrounded by very strong diamond people, very passionate about this business. And I know that is the goal for most people. I've never been able to see myself, if that makes any sense, as a diamond. But I think, honestly, I do believe in this business, and I do believe it can take off at some point, but I do have a hard time imagining like bigger goals. And that's not just with Plexus. I mean, me and my husband have had conversations, and he's like, where do you see yourself in 10 years? And I'm like, I don't think I've ever thought about that. That's hasn't been a natural thing for me to do, like dream like that. So I want to say that.
Why do you think that is, that you don't dream big?
It probably is a little bit of a self-esteem, self-confidence, like learning to believe in myself more. Yeah, I think that's probably, I just need to learn to believe in myself more. Yeah. Kind of have that focus on the bigger picture and not so much as the here and now. Because I think Kara can also speak to this too for me, is that there's been times where I've reached out to her and I'm like, it's not that I don't want to do it. I've sent 20 messages, and I feel kind of stuck right now. And sometimes I think I've already questioned, like, I wonder if this is right for me, because I see the posts on people's groups that they're like, this girl has gone gold in 2 months, or, some crazy, I mean, I'm just like, I want that. I do. I want to be that girl. I want to be able to help those people, but I just have a hard time imagining myself to be that person as well.
Is it hard for you to think of Melody Oliver as a gold ambassador?
That not so much, no.
What about as a Ruby?
Yeah, I think that starts getting out of reach for me.
Well, are you willing to start dreaming about that a little bit more? Do you know what a Ruby income is?
I'm not off the top of my head, but no.
Yeah, you should look that up. Let's say 5K a month, Ruby, senior Ruby. What would that look like to make $5,000 a month? What could you do with that in terms of maybe allowing yourself to dream?
Right. So that would be obviously life-changing, even at that level. Not just for me, but for, others around me, because I do have, because the other day, I think it was last night, I was on a call, the call last night, and I wrote down, what I think she mentioned writing down, like, what you could do as a diamond on a daily basis. And one of the things is I want to be able to help bless other people, because I know that this company is very good about be a blessing. And so I would love to do that a lot more and more comfortably. I love to take, the kids at Christmas and do a family. And my husband and I like to donate a bunch of food to the animal shelter as well. And so I would just love to be able to do that more. And we are world travelers. We would love to travel more. So that would be very obtainable with that as well. And one of our goals together as a family is we want to move to Florida. And so we would be able to do that a lot more easy. And
girl, you're a dreamer than you give yourself credit for. Look at those things you're talking about that you'd love to do. Now, I would challenge you to write those down. Put a dream board together with those and dream. Allow yourself to dream, because I can tell from your work ethic and your energy that you have so much of what it takes. You just are lacking a little bit of that belief. Now let's talk about your short-term goal really quickly for leaders, because I want everyone here to know that you will not earn leaders unless you are dreaming of more than that. Okay, leaders alone does not happen generally unless it's someone who is not dreaming bigger. I have seen people earn leaders as silver over and over. It's very doable. But the ones who that is just their focus and their end goal, they earn it, and they sometimes burn out or decide maybe, that was fun, but the ones who were willing to dream beyond that, earn it. Someone comes with them on their team sometimes even, and they are seeing the next ranks in the next, that following year, they're continuing on and growing. So I just really, that's my challenge. So real quickly, so we can wrap it up for you, and maybe you have time for someone else. Where are we with time, girls? I haven't even we could probably squeeze someone else in yet. I want to, just with your leaders retreat goal, do you have a plan for that written out?
So I've seen the plans that have already been created by Jessica and Carissa. And I've even obviously I pay attention to the Disney one, I'm like, oh, that's me. That's the one that I want to pay attention to. I've had meetings like one-on-one with Kara, and we've talked about like what this looks like and how to get there. I think, and I'm obviously here for correction and love and care, but in my mind, I think that I focus on like people signing up. And if people aren't signing up, then I'll never get to that goal. And so that's where I'm stuck right now, is because I have nobody interested. Even as a customer, I think I got 2 customers last week to get like a $30, order, like one product. And that's kind of where the most activity I've had really since the end of July. Even within my own ambassador team, the 4 people that signed up, they're only, 3 of them aren't even ordering. They turn their PV to later. And then 2 of them, or one of them or 2 of them, depending, will order like 1 or 2 products depending, because they're not doing them every day consistently. It's kind of pick and choose. And even after my encouragement, things like that is kind of stagnant even within the team that I already have. So I kind of my focus was like, okay, I want to get there. This is what I have to do. I understand I have to have at least 700 points to get there, and then I think it's like 1,800 or something like that, 1,200 to get to the Disney tickets. And so I just kind of, again, my dream kind of feels shortened because one of the months was supposed to be October, and I didn't have anybody sign up underneath me in October. So I kind of feel like my dream is kind of, the light is burning out, if that makes any sense.
Yeah. So real quick, do you feel like you've been super consistent with IPA, with messaging several people a day, with posting? You're super consistent with all that. You haven't let that go.
As far as I feel like, yes, absolutely. Okay. I do follow-ups. I do new messages, and I'm very good at posting. Sometimes probably too much.
Okay. Do you post about the business much?
Yes.
Okay.
I actually think I post too much business compared to personal.
Okay. Do you do engaging posts where you feel like you're getting a lot of engagement on your social media?
I get 0 engagement. Okay.
That would be something to try. Ask your team upline for some help with some engaging posts to just draw people in for, people love to talk about themselves. So any question you can ask where people can answer their opinions and their thoughts and their likes and they will answer. And so I'm the same way. I'm scrolling and I see something where they ask, how old were you when you had your first baby or whatever, it's fun. So I would really, really encourage you to do that. You've got to get engagement. You got to get, what I keep thinking when I'm hearing you talk about your team, I'm thinking engagement and exposure. Engagement and exposure. You need your people, the people that are maybe dropping off. How much have they been exposed to what Plexus is? Are they seeing the testimonies? Are they seeing what's happening on your team? So your bigger team. So those are my last challenge and thoughts for you, because you have this goal, you have a plan. Let's get some things rolling. And those are, and your dream board. You're gonna make a dream board, get some good engagement, and expose your people well to all the Plexus things when they do join you. That sound doable and helpful?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you, Brenda, so much. I appreciate it.
You're so welcome. I'm sure Megan and Justin and Chris would probably have some thoughts too. If you guys do, go for it, and then we'll move on to next. Well, I don't even see the one we had talked about on here.
I don't see her on either.
We can pick somebody.
Sure. Yeah. Well, Brenda, if you see someone from your team that is wanting to be coached, I have a couple of thoughts for Melody that I'll just pipe in.
Go ahead, and I'll just say real quick. Anyone on my team that wants to be coached, I can't remember who has answer to the poll. I'm not looking that up right now. So raise your hand if you are on my team, because Megan and Justin are planning to coach someone from my team.
So Melody, my thought automatically goes to, like, if you're posting and you're not getting engagement, then that makes me wonder how much you're interacting with people on social media, and also how much value you're adding outside of Plexus for people to be like gleaning something from you, if that makes sense. So curious, do you just post and kind of scroll, or do you interact, like value adding comments, questions on other people's posts or stories?
More times than not, I think that I'm the first one. I think that I do the posting, I scroll for a little bit and get off. And it's interesting that I even am that way, because I do have a lot of time at home working from home, because I don't work a lot even from home. So I have a lot of time on my hands, what I'm saying. Plus I don't have kids. So I definitely would love, I think that's where I need to, interact a little bit more. But I have been seeing and learning that from Kara as well recently. Instead of just liking something or loving something or putting like an emoji, actually like typing a sentence or two out. I think she learned that recently too, or at least communicated that to me. So I think that that's spot on for sure. I needed to do a little bit more interaction with people.
Yeah, so just like you would in person with someone, we have to mimic that on social media. And so yes, being a lot more intentional about engaging, like not just like, oh, fun, comments like that, but more of like, oh my word, I love that wallpaper. Where did you find that? Or whatever. I mean, like engaging where they are compelled to like write back on your comment. And it's not where you're just like trying to artificially engage, but like actually enjoy the process of engaging and being curious about people. So that's something. Two quick little stories. I have, so one of the girls that was on my team that was, she wasn't on social media prior to Plexus. She got on, and I don't know, a couple months in, she's like, I don't think this is going to work. Like, I don't think it's going to work. And what she started doing, and so this is what made me think of that, she started spending 2 to 3 hours a day on social media, just genuinely interacting and also adding value. So she was a homesteader and had a ton of value to add in a different, like something that's outside of Plexus, right? And so she used her like life skills to like teach people stuff and like show what she was doing with her kids, and like very engaging and interesting. And so I think the engagement with people on social media, as well as intentionally adding value every single day in some way, shape, or form through her posts or stories, was the reason why she was able to grow a team to Jewel rank. Now, I remember Trisha Rieger. She was challenged a couple years ago. She challenged, and she said that her team doesn't necessarily do reach out challenges as much as they do engagement challenges, because of what that does to algorithms. And also when you're genuinely engaging with people, you will automatically probably have more messages going, right? And so she just said, well, I don't remember exactly her assignments, but what I did after I listened to that video is I printed out my Facebook friends list, and I took a page a day, and I started intentionally interacting with any person on that page that was not in Plexus. So because I've had this feeling that all of my posts were only being seen by church people in my family. I was like, I need the algorithms to be like other people, right? And so I don't think it was coincidence that I signed 8 people that month. And I think it really had to do with, well, one, me adding value in the form of interacting on social media via comments on people's posts, right? Sometimes I would get in Messenger also, and you'd be like, oh my word, I saw what you were doing, this, would end in like engaging, right? That way. But more or less, it was just like on their actual post. So I don't remember where I was going with that. Anyways, it totally, I think, it made more like other people see my posts. So you can post amazing things all day long, but if you're not actually interacting, I think a good gauge is like, how much interaction are you getting on your posts? you got to get votes, right? Through your likes and your comments. So if you're not getting that, then it's like, okay, well, what do I need to tweak? So sorry, I was kind of talking more than I was asking questions, but does that help give you some ideas?
It does.
Okay.
Yeah, I do. When you reach out to people, you said you're not afraid to reach out and talk to people and do the 20 a day or the Hey Girl posts, whatever. I've never done a Hey Girl post myself. Yeah,
You didn't do that.
my upline just says good thing. So I just have a question, just listening to you talk and all these things. When you're reaching out to them, how much do you listen to them? And how many questions do you ask them? Or do you
That's
just,
a good point.
yeah.
I actually sent a message to Carissa, I think, earlier this week, and I said, hey, what do you think about this? I think it was a reach back or something like that. And she was already like, well, I think you've got good content, but you're kind of jumping too fast to, product and pricing and things like that. And I think that I'm new at this and I'm learning it in a different way recently. And that is to do the, how are you, see a post on Facebook, ask a question, always end in a question to keep the conversation going. Then kind of talk about what they're feeling, symptoms, things like that. Then suggest one thing or a group of things. Then let them, so I'm learning a different type of approach than I have been doing in the past. But in the past, it was the blanket message of, hey, I'm on Plexus. I've been doing it since June. Would love to know what you think about it, or would you like to try a product, or, those kind of the generic word vomit on everybody. So.
Yeah. The reason I'm asking, because we're going through a book on Wednesday nights, The Millionaire Networker. And when you were talking, a couple of these things came to mind, not just for you, but for all of us really. And it had to do with asking questions, and it had to do with listening, because we all have probably, chased people with Plexus. And I know that I have, and until a good friend of mine challenged me on it one time, and he told me to don't lower yourself to the level of selling Plexus.
Wow.
Yeah, it was a zinger for sure. Anyway, we're still great friends, but in this book, it's just really good, practical stuff. But one thing says you're not going to be effective selling anything, but people want you to help them solve their problems and needs. And just a lot of things, another thing it says in here, the most important thing is the person, not our technique. So I think one thing that we can do, and this goes for all of us in this business, I think is we need to learn to be better listeners. People will tell you what they need. If we ask enough questions, they'll tell you. You can coach anybody in this business pretty much, and they'll tell you what their problems are. You don't have to come up with, you just ask enough questions and they'll tell you what the issues are, right? And so as we're talking and prospecting people, just ask questions. When we're in conversation, just ask questions and listen.
Okay.
And they'll tell you what their needs are. And if we go into that conversation with the attitude of, I'm here to help meet a need with this person, then that opportunity will open up. But again, that's not just for you, Melody. This is for all of us. We're all learning. I mean, there's not a one of us on here that has it all figured out. So we're all in this together and learning, but we could always learn to be better listeners and learn to ask better questions.
I like the whole pain point thing. Jordan Roddenberry is really great about that. So if they're like, oh yeah, I deal with migraines or I deal with headaches, and you're like, you lean into that instead of being like, okay, what other health goals do you have?
Right.
I'm so sorry you're dealing with that. Tell me more about how that's affecting your daily life. And then, wait for them to respond. But anyways, I just want to say, Melody, I'm super duper just impressed with how coachable you are, and you seem very open to making tweaks, because it's not easy to be in the hot seat.
Right.
Notice you're the only one that's bearing your soul. But it's, to me, that is worth more than really anything. It's like your willingness to be coached and say like you're willing to try tweaks, because this is for you. You're here for a purpose, and I know God has a special spot for you to help specific people that only you can help. And so
Right.
the past whatever 4 or 5 months that you felt, haven't met your expectation on business growth or whatever, that does not predict your future. It just means that maybe you need to make some slight tweaks to what you're doing, and you will see the results that you want to get. I truly believe that. So thank you for being on with us. So fun.
Well, thank you to Brenda and Justin, Megan. I really appreciate you giving some time and helping me. Thank you.
Yes, you're welcome.
Yeah, we're all super proud of you for being vulnerable when you're still new, and at this, but hey, girl, you got this.
Thank you.
All right, Brenda, did anybody raise their hand?
Well, we have
Maybe.
we have like 7 minutes?
Yeah, I sent you a message.
Oh, okay.
Why don't we do this? Or what's the message? Let's see what the message says first. Before we hold on, let's check the message first.
What your idea? We could go.
Let's do something. I'm going to put someone on the hot seat really fast. Don't be nervous. Don't be nervous. I want to talk to Linda. Where's Linda? All right, Linda.
We're going to follow up with Linda.
So this will be a little bit different than what we normally do, but we need to follow up with Linda, and I'll tell you why. It wasn't because she signed a business builder. There's been a change recently in the spirit behind her posts. Her posts have a little bit of an attitude lately. They just do. They feel different. They come across different. They feel different. They hit you. They're intriguing. They're engaging. I'm curious. What's going on, Linda? What happened?
I think I've worked on my belief in myself. I think I've maybe stopped caring a little bit about what people are going to think. And realizing I wasn't posting about the business enough. So it's silly to be frustrated about not getting business builders when you're not even talking about it. Or I wasn't reaching out to people about it. So how can you get frustrated when nobody knows that's what you're looking for? Yeah, I think the coaching helped me. I think it's built belief in me, and I think it's shown me a lot of my frustrations are very common. I think you can feel like you're alone, and sometimes did the comparison game, just like she was saying, oh, this person went, emerald in 6 months. This person went gold in 2 weeks. What's wrong with me? Why can't I do that? And, so I'm learning, don't compare. My journey is my journey. Theirs is theirs. And be confident in what I have to offer and show that confidence. If I don't feel that belief, they're going to see that, hear that, and pick up on that. And if I don't believe it, then why are they going to want to believe it or jump in and take a chance? They're not. And I would be the same way. If someone's trying to share something with me and you can tell they don't even really believe it, it's like, well, no.
Yeah.
So I think that's kind of it in a nutshell. But I think the coaching has helped, and this 21 days hard is hard. It's been hard, but I think I'm kind of getting in a rhythm with the hard and going, okay, you can do this. So, yeah.
In the Army, we had a saying called "embrace the suck."
Yeah, and there's enough of it.
Yeah, just go with it. So quick question. So as you started reaching out about the business, because I understand how, and I was this way, where you start sharing about the products and what they've done for you, and then maybe you do a live video and you get over that sort of a fear on the products. And then it's like the next fear is sharing about the business. And then there's like this fear about sharing the business. And I know there's some people on here that are afraid to share the business. We've talked about that for the last several weeks. So when you first started sharing, just, recently, as you started just sharing more about the business, was it scary at first?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I felt like when I've reached out to people in the past, they would be very kind and say, thank you, I appreciate that and everything, but no, I have no interest. And nobody ever responded, yeah, maybe, or it was always no, 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 no. And I think I got tired of the no's. But again, something that's kind of drilled down from the book study, how many no's does it take to get the yeses you need? It's like, you want the no's, you're looking for the no's, so get out there and do it and stop whining,
Right.
Yeah.
Right. No, so when you're reaching out to people now, compared to maybe a couple months ago, a few months ago, whenever, do you feel different when you're reaching out? Do you feel like you have more confidence? Do you feel like, even though there's a possible no on the other end, do you feel like, I don't know, you just seem like you have more of a boldness to you?
I feel like if I get the no, it's not going to blow me out of the water and I'm not going to give up. I'm going to feel like I've been praying about it more too. Praying, saying, God, show me who to reach out to. And then I feel like I'm doing what I feel led to do. And if they're not there yet or say no, bless them and let them go. But the gal that I met with today, when she said yes, she would meet with me, she's like, I have been praying she says, I know I need the products. She's been on them before. I know I need the products. But even more than that, I've been praying for a business. And I had another friend who's in a similar business. But when I looked at doing business with her, it's like, no, I just knew that wasn't right. And she said, when you messaged me, and I did a voice message, she said it was like God going, that's it. That's what you're supposed to do. And that blew me away, it was very encouraging. So yeah, we met today and it went really well, and she's excited. And the other thing I've learned with the coaching was, I think before I was reaching out to just anybody about the business, and with you guys saying, pick who you want, figure out what qualities they need to have, and go for that person. And she's one of those people. She's sharp, she's influential, she loves the Lord, she's kind, she's motivated, she's the whole package. And someone asked at the table if we were mother and daughter, and I'm like, no, but I probably could be her mother.
Well, this is great. I hope everybody's extremely encouraged with Linda. And one of the things with the coaching and these calls and the book study or these coaching calls, whatever, you're only going to get out of it what you put into it. Like just going to it, showing up is part of it, but we have to apply the things that we hear. We have to apply the things that we're learning, and Linda's doing that. And her posts lately have just been, they just feel different. Yeah. So I'm glad we got to talk on here tonight about it. I'm really proud of you.
Thank you.
I have a quick question for you.
Yeah.
What about the 21 hard feels hard? Is it because it's more than you've ever done, like specifically and consistently, or what feels so hard about it?
Well, probably one of the areas where I was not doing enough is reaching out, because I feel like I've gone through my warm market, like a lot of people say, and I've reached out to a lot of people 2 and 3 times. So how many times do you keep reaching out? And I think that I was getting stuck there, and I've tried kind of expanding my market, and that takes time.
Mhm.
And so if I'm going, I want to get the leaders retreat, I want to do this, I want to do that, I feel like that's not fast enough, but it's just made me be more creative and think more and find ways to do it. And that's been hard a little bit, but I feel like I'm learning and gaining. Yeah,
Mhm.
that's probably the hardest part, the reaching out and wanting to not just throw a post up, but take the time to put something up that's quality and going to really speak to people.
Mhm. Yeah. No, that all makes perfect sense. I remember Jessica doing a group similar to, and she called it like Maui Momentum or something, but there was a whole slew of us that were like gold and senior gold. But what I think that did, because like there is things I had never done before, I wasn't doing consistently, or just, it really gave, I think, everybody that was plugged in and doing the activity like a wide base to make sure we're like covering all the bases, not just like honing in on our favorite piece, but like making sure we're doing all of the things. And that, even something simple like changing out your profile picture and like putting something, of value with your profile picture. I mean, like, when was the last time I did that or whatever? And so, the reach outs, the expanding the network, you're so right that it does take time. But the thing I will say is, like, when you're intentionally doing that, you're intentional about your posts, not just throwing something up, but value adding posts. When you're intentional about reaching out, I call it the Plexus energy. Like, it starts to work in your favor. It's probably, God really at work, especially as we're committing our businesses to him and actually praying that he would just bring us the people that truly need this, and even vetting the list. So it's not just like, oh, I checked off my 5 today and it was like 5 randos, right? Versus these are people I have prayed over, that God brought to my mind. That's a whole different, that's a shift for sure. So yeah, you said so many things. The passion and the enthusiasm, like that totally trumps so much, really, in the belief in yourself. And what I see you is the difference of you playing small versus playing big. Like, it's felt in your posts, and I'm sure it felt in your reach outs too.
Thank you.
Good things.
Very
Okay. Well, super duper proud of everybody. Thank you for being on. I did want to make a quick announcement. So next week we have a very, very fun thing planned. And it is an event called Because I Said Yes to Plexus. And we are going to do a Zoom opportunity event. It'll be blitzy quick, so that, potentials are not going to be on for like, 30, 40, whatever, 60 minutes. It'll be probably 20 minutes or less. That's the goal. We're going to be sharing our personal, Blitz health, Blitz financial testimony. So it's something that you definitely want to promote big time. You don't want to start the night before. You will get, it's kind of like what Justin said, you'll get out of it what you put into it. And so the fact that you have 4 successful diamonds putting this together, sharing their stories, you want to get people on this call, right? And so the work is done for you. I mean, in terms of like hosting and all of that, like, you don't have to put brain space into like, what am I going to say, right? All you have to do is get people on the call. That is your job. It's like, get people on the call. And a couple of things I will share really quick. I had an event last week that I hosted for our team, and it went so well. It's maybe the best event we've done all year long. And I was evaluating, like, why was this so good? Part of it, I think, is because I started promoting it early. Okay. So as leaders on your team, you cannot say it once and expect people to hop on it. Repeat. As a leader, you have to repeat that. Put it in your chats, put it in your team page. If you have leaders on your team, or actually not necessarily even leaders, but like private message people. Don't expect them to see it from a team page post, right? And one thing I love what Jessica Heffley says, so this is a question that you can ask your business builders, is rise them up in their leadership by saying, oh my word, Michelle, tell me who you have coming to our call next Thursday. I cannot wait. This is going to be so good. And what it does for Michelle is causes her to be like, oh, well, I was planning to be on. I guess I didn't even think about getting people on my team on or inviting potentials, right? So she totally, through that wording, that simple question, you know, helps her leaders think, oh, I need to get my people on this call, right? And so the other thing that I would totally do if you're working on Leaders Retreat, I would incentivize people to be on that call. I would say, hey, I am doing a whatever I'm doing a drawing giveaway for the greens or whatever, a bag of Black Cherry Slim, or it could be something cheaper. I don't even know. The cleanser, or you could just do like a $20 Amazon gift card and then pick one winner, and everybody that also participates but doesn't win, then you offer them like a free shipping rebate and the same 2020 promo code to whatever, get started, right? So because they listened to the call, they did what they were supposed to do, but they didn't win your thing. So even the losers of your giveaway can totally still get a little piece of the pie by getting started and getting in on your special, okay? So sometimes it's just those creative things. We will also throw some stories that you can pop in your stories and consistently talk about next Thursday, okay? Girls, am I forgetting anything? Okay, awesome. Well, book study is tomorrow night, and looking forward to next Tuesday's coaching and also our event next Thursday. We will also pop the graphic in because we do have a graphic created already. We'll pop it in our threads and on our team pages so you guys can utilize that. All righty. Okie doke. Thanks guys for being on. We'll get the recording up soon.
Yes, thanks everyone.
Yeah.
Good night.